Okay, this video is going to go over how to divide whole numbers by unit fractions and how to divide unit fractions by whole numbers. Okay, two of the things that we have done recently. So I'm just going to write a couple problems here, and let's say I have 6 divided by 1/3, and then over here I have 1/3 divided by 6. Now if you're still confused about this, you might say, Ms. Mab, these are the same problems. Well, I'm going to show you and remind you how they're not. Okay, so this first number is showing what is being shared. Okay, because when we divide, that's what we're doing. It's also the total of what is there to share. Okay, it's the total. So there's 6 wholes of something. And this is asking us, this problem here is saying, how many 1/3 can go into 6? Or 6 wholes. Okay, so this is just asking how many, if I had 6 wholes of something, how many 1/3 could I make out of that? Now this problem, on this one, I have a total of 1/3 of something. I only have a third. I don't have a whole. Okay, and I'm going to break it up into 6 pieces. So where this total was 6 wholes, I can't break a part of something into 6 wholes. I'm breaking it into 6 pieces. I'm breaking that part of something into 6 pieces, equal pieces. Okay? So I'm going to show you how to draw this to help you to really see what this means, okay? And the other thing, let me just remind you of a couple things that we talked about too. If your division problem, when you're doing fractions, if it has as the dividend, okay, well you learned that in 4th grade and then again this year, our dividend, if it is a whole number, our quotient will be a whole number, okay? It will actually be a larger whole number, and the reason is if you have 6 of something and you break it into smaller pieces, you're going to have a whole lot of small pieces. And again, your answer won't be a whole, and I'll explain that again, but you'll have a bigger number than what you start with. The opposite is true if you start with a fraction. If I only have a part of something and then I share it amongst my friends, we're each going to get a part, but our part is going to be smaller. So if you start with a fraction, you're going to end with a smaller fraction. So let me show you, give you an example of this. So 6 wholes, I've seen people do individual boxes to represent this, but I've also seen on tests where they just give you 1 bar and they break it into 6 wholes. Okay, so I'm just going to break this, and then I'm going to make sure I explain to you, and this is the same as if I did this, just in case you're going, but that's a fraction. I'm just doing it both ways because I've seen it on tests both ways, and I don't want you to get confused if you see something that looks like this. Okay, this they just put the 6 wholes, and they probably on top would say 6 wholes. Okay, this shows 6 wholes. This also shows 6 wholes. All right. That's the first thing we have to understand. Now they want to know how many 1/3 would go into 6 holes. So if they had it in a model that looked like this, you could simply break up as nicely as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Each of those holes into 3 pieces, because now this is a 1/3, this is a 1/3, this is a 1/3, right? Same thing here. This is one hole. I'm breaking them into thirds. Okay. All right. Because remember, 3/3 makes one hole. So if they want to know how many 1/3 can go into 6 holes, if I broke 6 up into 1/3, I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 1/3. 18 pieces. So your answer is going to be 18. But remember, these are pieces. And this is probably going to be, when you're asked this, it's in some type of a word problem, okay? So it would make more sense when you see it in the word problem. But we started with 6 holes, okay? We broke each one of them up into 3 pieces, and we were able to get 18 pieces because 3 pieces are in one hole. 3/3 makes one hole. Now let me show you what you do if you take apart a third. I have to first start by drawing a hole. Okay, so this is one hole. Alright, so I have one hole, and I want to show you 1/3. So this is what we are looking at. This is 1/3 of the hole. And they want us to take this 1/3 and break it into 6 pieces. To do that, we have to actually break the whole, we have to break this up 1/3 into 6 pieces. But by doing that, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And usually we have to remember that this is part of a whole, so that's what these little dots are showing. That this 1/3 is not a whole that's being broken up into 6 pieces. It's part of a larger whole. It's a third of that larger whole. So when I break this 1/3 into 6 pieces, if I was looking at the total, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's 18 pieces, so each of these pieces is 1/18 of the whole. Okay? Again, you have to first, let me use a little crayon. That's your third. Okay? That's your third. Say it was a pan of brownies, okay, and 2/3 were already eaten. You had 1/3 left. When you're talking about how many, if you had 6 people eating it, if you want to know how big each of their pieces were, you'd have to first think of what you had to start with. And from that original pan of brownies, each piece is 1/18 of the whole. So 1/18. Very different answers. 18 pieces. I broke my 6 holes up into 18 pieces. This is 1/18. So hopefully that helps. And I'll be doing some other videos also that hopefully will help as well.